In at 10, Scrap Baby. Scrap Baby is a creepy animatronic. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Okay, Scrap Baby is by far creepier than the normal baby animatronic because, I mean, it's scrapped. So this costume certainly does it justice. Animatronics are a difficult costume to really make, okay? I mean, it's understandable because, you know, we're people and unfortunately don't have robotic limbs for the most part. Or if we do, we typically try and make it look like a real leg instead of a robot leg. But Scrap Baby is even more difficult because, you know, it's a scrap animatronic and it has a giant freaking claw. So yeah, Scrap Baby is very damaged and it's a recycled version of Baby, okay? Realistic reddish, orange, light blue hair, yellow pigtails. It's weird, alright? It's weird, okay? She has an orange top with red furls and it's very damaged. Yet somehow Instagram user Gaia Spaziani was able to recreate this in an awesome way, okay? So very well done, and maybe you can use it as inspiration for yourself. In at 9, Springtrap. Oh boy. Craftix Gaming's YouTube channel features a video of a real Springtrap costume, and honestly, it's terrifying. Springtrap is the main antagonist of FNAF 3, and this costume is freaking nuts, okay? This is a very good costume, and while Springtrap may not be the scariest animatronic per se, he's not someone that I'm gonna tussle with, you know? However, I do want to talk about what's going on with this character, because my guy, you just dressed up as a possessed man who is inhabiting an animatronic unable to die, but yet still somehow decaying. I don't get it. You're quite literally dressing up as a serial killer at this point. Like in the FNAF world, if you dressed up like this, it would be you dressed up as like Ted Bundy. It was like an equivalent in this world, okay? So if you want to be in FNAF that badly, maybe don't dress as a serial killer is all I'm saying, okay? I know that's ironic coming from me, given that I wear a purple shirt on the regular, but do I look like I want to be in FNAF? No, I cry about it on the daily. I have made things very clear that I don't want to be in this world, and if you don't know that, go watch more videos, okay? But this is nuts, okay? That's insane, and if Springtrap was delivering me my pizza, I probably would cry. In at 8, Ennard. Costumes don't really have to be elaborate to be scary, okay? Take this for example. This Ennard cosplay by the YouTube channel Skywarped33. This entire endoskeleton, like spaghetti bits, they aren't there, but the lights and sounds make it even more frightening than you'd think, okay? The face also opens up, and I think that we all know how I feel about animatronics who can move their face at will, or at least move their face in separate sections, okay? It's not something that should be allowed. However, even without all the parts and the various eyes, this Ennard cosplay is not something that I would want to run into in a dark alley, especially not after that goddamn vent repair minigame, because that caused me to have serious issues, okay? I used to like spaghetti, man, okay? Now what do? I won't be ordering spaghetti from this delivery service, that's for damn sure, although if they do have Ennard spaghetti on the menu, I might have to. But no, okay? Especially if the driver shows up wearing this, because holy crap, that would be terrifying, and I would rather die than see a real-life Ennard. So yeah, maybe actually don't do this, at least if you're delivering to me. In at 7, Melted Chocolate Bonnie. Melted Chocolate Bonnie is a variant of Chocolate Bonnie released on April 1st, 2021 in FNAF AR. He's the 4th skin for Bonnie and the 1st skin of 2021 to be released alone. Melted Chocolate Bonnie looks near identical to Chocolate Bonnie, except he's obviously melting. I mean, like, duh. He also has way more holes than the original Chocolate Bonnie, some of which show more of his endoskeleton, and he's now a slightly darker shade of brown. But finally, on his upper left arm, lower right arm, and his left hand, various small sprinkles can be seen. It's kind of like those Little Debbie rainbow sprinkle brownies. And even if it reminds me of cherished childhood treats, this thing is still scary. It being melted gives it more of a ruined appearance, like this just shouldn't exist, which adds to the whole creep factor, because I mean, like, it's like a zombie, but like a chocolate zombie, which isn't healthy because it wants you to eat it, but if you take a bite, you'll become a chocolate zombie too. Nevertheless, can you please sell chocolate bonnies that you would like chocolate bunnies that you would just call chocolate bonnies, please? I mean, like, it wouldn't be difficult. You could like vacuum form a mold of like the Funko toy for Bonnie and then just fill it with chocolate and then boom, you're good to go. Like, please make this a thing. I need this in my life. And at 6, Buff Helpy. Okay, so this may not be like cosplay or a costume that someone could reasonably wear, but Buff Helpy is probably the most disturbing non-cosplay character that I can really include on this list. If you don't already know, somehow, Buff Helpy is a meme that was created on a Daco FNAF meme review video and has ever since been haunting him and the rest of the community, okay? Don't get me wrong, I do love Helpy, but this Buff Helpy meme generated a whole load of buff FNAF character ideas that now terrify me. Nowhere is safe from these horrific creations. If you look up any character, you're bound to find a buff version of them at some point. It's kind of like those games where it's like, let's search up a character and see how long it takes them to be sexualized, and then they scroll down. Do that with a FNAF character, but see how fast it makes them buff, okay? It's the same thing that happens to Chica, but buff, okay? No matter what this is, like what form of psychological torment this is, I would not wish it on my worst enemy. However, I'm talking about it because, you know what? It's hilarious. If Buff Helpy showed up delivering my pizza, I would constantly order from this place. Not because I want to see some like buff shirtless dude in a Helpy mask actually handing my food, but because that is the most genius marketing ploy ever, and I would be very proud of them. Halfway through it at number 5, Toy Chica. You knew I was gonna put this on this list, and you know damn well why, okay? You see, some people both online and in the office think that I have an unhealthy admiration of Toy Chica. But the thing is, Chica's just a vessel for all my jokes because I'm terrible with women, which I don't think is much better, honestly, or much of a surprise. Either way, Toy Chica is a major antagonist and one of the toy animatronics first appearing in FNAF 2. This version is an improved replacement of Chica, like the original one, which is now Withered Chica, or at least in that game is Withered Chica, serving as the backup singer for the newly refurbished Freddy Fazbears in 1987. And while in the end she did get scrapped due to multiple malfunctions, she will remain in my heart. Okay, I'm just hoping that there is some form of joke about facial recognition or something that you can buy, maybe like Chica's beak or something. Okay, I don't know, it would be funny if there was some form of reference to Chica but also Toy Chica, because like they could explain the line of why would Toy Chica be missing her beak that Scott left in MatPat's FNAF theory stream after one of his FNAF 4 theory videos years ago, okay? That would be a nice explanation, because I've been confused ever since. If it's not dream theory, what the f is it? In it for Nightmare. I've said it before and I will say it again. Nightmare is the scariest animatronic from these games, hands down. Get it? Because I put my hands down. This guy will get me every time, and it's one of the reasons that I refuse to play FNAF 4. The other one is Nightmare Fredbear, okay? But at least I don't have to really deal with them in real life, right? Oh wait, yeah, just talked about it. This is only like a Nightmare character created in the mind of a coma patient in a video game, but it is still the worst thing ever. Especially thanks to Bunny creations on amino apps, okay? We've got both Nightmare and Nightmare Fredbear. Ironically enough, Nightmare Fredbear is played by their twin sister. It's ironic because Elizabeth Apton is sometimes presumed to be Crying Child's twin sister, and anyway, these absolute hulking costumes are going to make me, let's say, drop a Snickers bar in my pants. If I saw this in real life, Jesus, imagine like actually like living in a house that's kind of laid out like the one from FNAF 4, and then like your kids want to play a prank on you and then they dress in these and they come from either side. For God's sakes, I would actually rather die. If that is what's going to happen, I do not want kids. My grandparents' house is kind of laid out like that, like not exactly, but it has like 2 sections of like on either side of the room, okay? So that could theoretically be reenacted, and if that ever happens, I'm going to cry. So if you start delivering my pizza dressed as Nightmare, actually good for you. Getting close to the end, in at number 3, the Puppet. The Puppet is an animatronic puppet, obviously, and a major antagonist, but also a good guy in the FNAF series. First appearing as the main antagonist of FNAF 2, but later in the games showing its heroic side, it possibly serves as the prize vendor of the newly refurbished Freddy Fazbears from 1987. Although it's implied that it was originally from Fredbear's Family Diner, or at least its inspiration was. After the pizzeria was only open for a few short weeks, it was then closed down, but the puppet, unlike the toy animatronics who were scrapped due to malfunctions, this one actually wasn't scrapped, appearing later in the new pizzeria in the first game, kind of. He's in dream cutscenes, and he also appears in posters on the wall. Him not being there can just be due to the fact that Scott hadn't designed the character yet. And then it also appeared as Lefty in Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria Simulator FNAF 6. Lefty was also an animatronic intended to capture the puppet, because, you know, it was being possessed by the soul of Henry's daughter Charlotte, and there's a whole other thing. But it's also widely believed and fairly confirmed at this point that Charlotte is William's first victim, meaning that overall they have like the most significance to the story ever. So definitely required if we're going to be having a real life delivery service, okay? I want there to be a prize counter section of the menu, okay? Whether it sells toys or it's just there for a joke, I need it. It's not a want. okay? This is a need. It is required legally. But ultimately, in number 2, Glitchtrap. We know my issue with Glitchtrap, alright? We know that I just want to watch William Afton burn in the deepest pits of hell and then leave me be. I want him to be in actual hell and then stay there for all of eternity so that I can move on with my life, okay? I hate this I always come back thing that he's got going on, okay? It's stupid. And despite being dressed as the purple guy on various occasions, I still want William dead. So, when I saw this frighteningly realistic looking Glitchtrap costume, my nerves hit an all-time high. I think the sheer simplicity of a Glitchtrap suit is definitely something that makes this a hell of a creepy costume since, you know, the stitches here are very accentuated. It's very clear it made for it has higher contrast than the actual suit in the game, but either way, it's freaking creepy. And if a serial killer is going to hand me my pizza, I don't know, I was gonna say something that would make the cops concerned, and I feel like I've done that enough, so like, let's not have serial killers hand me my pizza, okay? But you know what, good job, Bonnie Creations on Twitter, okay? But like, why did you do this to me? And finally, in at number 1, Purple Guy. While Purple Guy, again, isn't an animatronic, and I guess neither is Glitchtrap or Vanny, but you know what, I had to pad out this list somehow. I think seeing some dude dressed in purple delivering me my freaking Freddy Fazbear branded pizza would actually scare me to death. Like, I don't wear purple on this channel anymore because people kept calling me the Purple Guy and the cops don't need any more ammunition against me, but also because I can't actually find that shirt at the moment. But still, this is something that I would absolutely do. If I had a car, I honestly might have actually delivered food for the Freddy Fazbear's pizza delivery service if it ends up opening in Canada. And you know damn well that if I was doing it, I would be dressing in all purple with a security badge on my chest, maybe even like a purple phone case for the occasion just because it would be hilarious. Okay, I don't need a spring lock crank, those aren't actually a thing in real life. While the term spring lock is used in real life, it's a totally different mechanism from what's actually in FNAF, okay? I'm certain most of you get the whole spring locks are real line from the Spring Locks and You How to Not Die Remastered thread from the FNAF wiki. However, actual spring locks are just locks that use spring. Like, from my research, what I gathered was that a spring lock in real life is, in simplest terms, if your front door's deadbolt was on a spring. Every other instance talking about real spring locks is just, it simply brings you to that page or it quotes that page. So yeah, spring locks as they're used in the games do not exist in real life. Okay, the term is used, but in the real life it's 2 separate words instead of 1, and they are nowhere close to the same thing. And it's in Glamrock Freddy. Glamrock Freddy is one of the newer Glamrock animatronics in Security Breach, but he instantly made his way into the hearts of thousands, but also made the skeptics come out in others, mainly me. Glamrock Freddy is based off the original Freddy Fazbear, but with an early UK 1970s vibe. Similar to Toy Freddy, he has a top hat, but now with a thin blue stripe just above its brim. He has a microphone on a stand, obviously, because I mean he's the lead singer. Glamrock Freddy, also within the game, is Gregory's protector and is trying to help him survive until 6 AM and escape the Pizzaplex, although he goes about it in horrible ways, but that's aside the point. With the player being able to climb into his stomach, referred to as the birthday cake hatch on the PlayStation blog. And then you can take control of him and, you know, kind of use him as a mech, but not do any fun stuff, but that's aside the point. He was voiced by Kellen Goff, who also voiced Funtime Freddy in Sister Location, Rockstar Foxy, Mr. Hippo, the Funtime Foxy in Ultimate Custom Night, and an unused Bonnie voice from FNAF VR. But I mean, considering how he's the latest Freddy, he kinda needs to be referenced, right? At least in my head. In at 9, the Daycare Attendant. The Daycare Attendant, as it's referred to on the wiki and by other animatronics in game, is actually just the sun drop and moon drop animatronic that we know and should be extremely creeped out by. The Daycare Attendant features a crescent moon-shaped head in its moon form, with half of it colored black to fill in the missing portions where the sun face would be. Its face in moon mode also has a large nose and a grin, coupled with 2 glowing red eyes, one of which is above the tip of its nose, and its hands are like that same white color as its face with like dark blue fingernails. It also, you know, has 2 leather wristbands with ribbons on them for some reason, has a nightcap, and just baggy pants. Because of course it does. We all sleep in hammer pants, right? Hammer time? In its sun appearance, it's colored almost entirely of various shades of yellow. It's happy, it's not trying to kill you, but you know what? It's creepy as hell, especially in moon mode. Can you imagine this guy dropping off like your pizza, and it's just like you just open the door just as it hits the top of the hour and then he instantly wants to kill you? Or like like it's getting dark outside after you've placed your order and you just hope to God that they don't give you the daycare attendant as like a delivery robot or maybe like the face on the actual box. I don't know, that would be funny. It'd be like Russian roulette but with animatronics and pizza. They put a random face for an animatronic on the box, and if you get the moon, you're dead, or if you get someone evil, you're dead. I don't know. In a normal Freddy. Freddy was the mascot when the first Freddy Fazbear's opened in 1983. At that time, it was Freddy Fazbear's and then also Fredbear's Family Diner. But in 1987, he and his original animatronics had fallen into severe disrepair, and Freddy was replaced with his newer counterpart for the improved Freddy Fazbear's Pizza called Toy Freddy. After that pizzeria's closing though, as well as the toy animatronics being scrapped, he and the original animatronics were refurbished for the new pizzeria and the events of the first game. However, after the closure of that pizzeria, because you know that's not a red flag at all, he and the animatronics get dismantled by William Afton trying to learn their secrets, and then yeah, we know what happens after that. Either way, Freddy is literally the title character of not only the delivery service but the series as well. And while he may not have been originally intended to move from the stage unless he ran out of power, he does now. He's the most iconic FNAF animatronic ever. And with like 20 or so variations on his design over the past 8 years, yeah, I expect to see Freddy in some form, okay? Maybe even a toy version or a toy itself that can just be included with your order. Okay, and if he isn't there, I will riot at the local Chuck E. Cheese. And I'm not just talking about the face on the pizza box, that's not good enough. And at 7, Vanny. With Vanny being the villain in the last game and already one of the most popular characters in the entire series, I know that she's not an animatronic, okay, but chill. There are bound to be plenty of costumes of the character. However, this specific one from Rojita Ubu on Twitter is probably the most accurate and creepiest one I've seen. And yes, I said Ubu with a straight face, and let's ignore it. Vanny being a reluctant follower does in a way technically make this also a Glitchtrap cosplay as well. We won't talk about it because that's not what counts unless you want to consider Glitchtrap an animatronic, in which case it's totally fine if you want to think that. This costume is probably the most realistic one on this list because, well, I mean, Vanny in the games ended up making her own suit and it's just a human inside, whereas the others like Scrap Baby or Springtrap are animatronics as well as being part human, be it soul or another body. And Rojita's costume actually follows the exact same concept. It's just a person who makes their own suit, which potentially makes this the scariest thing of all. But honestly, considering how she is currently the serial killer in the series, at least the version that actually has like proper working limbs, I would very much appreciate not seeing a real Vanny delivering me my pizza balls. No thanks. And at 6, Springtrap. We know that Springtrap is William Afton in the suit and not technically an animatronic because of that. However, considering how FNAF 3, the game in which Springtrap was introduced, takes place in 2023, 30 years after the close of the FNAF 1 location in 1997, it would make sense that the real Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, be it a delivery service or not, that is launching most likely in 2023, would include a reference to this animatronic in some fashion. I mean, come on. When something lines up this perfectly, you can't miss an opportunity like it, especially when you're Scott motherfucking Cawthon. This guy released the second FNAF game exactly 87 days after the first, thinking that the first one would probably fail again. He's not doing this by accident. I am positive that the only reason it got announced this year is because we found it when looking for clues to a FNAF ARG, which didn't exist, okay? Even if it's just like a Springtrap pizza that's like maybe got some burnt cheese and a lot of sauce and then some meat strips on it, I feel like it's kind of required at this point, man. So please, Scott, please do this. Come on. Halfway through into number 5, Nightmare Freddy. Nightmare Freddy is one of the most iconic versions of the Freddy character, even if there are only 3 games that featured them, those being FNAF 4, Ultimate Custom Night, and FNAF VR. However, this Nightmare Freddy cosplay is absolutely insane, and in my opinion, it would have been the front runner for the Coupe de France cosplay competition, but that was back in 2017. The video was uploaded by YouTube channel Gorgon Geek, and this guy plays the robot thing very well, but as soon as he drops that microphone, he goes into like terror mode, which is certainly something to behold, okay? I would have enjoyed it if he had the frettles with him, but the moving mouth is certainly a nice touch on this costume, especially with the attempted jump scares that they do in the video, like the hey. Imagine if this guy got up on stage in a freaking Nightmare Freddy costume and then just started twerking. That would have won them the gold, okay? I don't know if they won or not, but that if they had it, that's what would have gotten you the gold, okay? But also, if Nightmare Freddy was the one delivering me my pizza, I don't think that I would actually end up eating it, just from sheer fear that they would have poisoned it, or maybe you put too many chili flakes on it. I mean, like, come on, look at me. And at 4, Foxy. In the original FNAF game, FNAF 1, Foxy is unique in the way that he will emerge from Pirate's Cove either faster or slower depending on how often you actually open that camera. If you look at it too little, he's gonna come out faster until he's actually left the cove, runs down the West Hall and into the office, and then once he reaches the door, he'll either knock loudly and reduce the power by 1% or kill you. And the amount of power that Foxy takes actually increases by 5% each attack, starting at 1, then going to 6, 11, 16, and so on. After this attack though, he immediately resets to a random position within Pirate's Cove. He can be like ready to go right after. Foxy is the pirate who is like kind of maroon. He wears an eye patch on his face because he's a pirate. He has a hook for his right arm. Foxy also is like a little bit of his leg. His endoskeleton is showing. He's a pirate and he definitely has scurvy. He also has a kind of a paler belly because like that's how you just draw cartoon animals. Since I mean like I think the way that works is that like that area would typically see less sun and I think that's why it's lighter. But either way, with Foxy being a fan favorite, it would be a shame not to see him in some capacity in the restaurant. Even if he has his own section or something, or like has his own like Pirate's Cove kind of like thing that you can scroll through, or like I've suggested previously, his own type of pizza, okay? It would be funny. Like, I want to see it. And at 3, Withered Bonnie. This Withered Bonnie cosplay is probably one of the scariest FNAF cosplays I've seen and the scariest Bonnie cosplay. It is incredible that someone could actually do this, and it comes from the YouTube user The Nick of Time. At first, I legitimately thought that this was CGI instead of an actual costume, but lo and behold, it was just an insanely cool costume. Glowing eyes, seemingly actual aluminum parts, and a chest that opens that you can push out with the other hand, which results in actually quite the decent jump scare, okay? Frankly, in the video, I was kind of taken aback by that, so you know what? If that's where my pizza came out of, I don't know if I would take it. This kind of thing always impresses the hell out of me because like so far, the closest I've come to making a full costume was when I helped someone work on a costume, okay? But that's the closest I've got, and I can't even think to make something like this. So if you show up and my pizza pops out of like your abdomen chest area, I'm gonna tip you 100%. That's insane. But ultimately, in at number 2, Golden Freddy. Golden Freddy is the mysterious ghost-like version of Freddy who kind of takes on the form of, you know, a yellow Freddy. He plays a somewhat prominent role in the FNAF series, although his origins are cryptic and unknown. Kind of. Many speculate that Crying Child was at one point possessing the animatronic, which would be an easy confirmation to make in this by just sending out some hints on the pizza boxes, you know, like writing something on like under the lid or something like that. On the other hand though, many also believe that Golden Freddy is possessed by Cassidy, and that Cassidy is also the vengeful spirit, aka the one you should not have killed. Although in my research again, it's more likely that Crying Child is the vengeful spirit, although no one wants to believe me because they won't actually think about it. It makes more sense, okay? Crying Child is vengeful spirit, Cassidy is Golden Freddy. They're two separate things at this point because you can't possess an animatronic but also a person. How would that work? At least if you're not William Afton and, you know, a kid. It also makes for a better story. And in all honesty, Cassidy has no significance to the story, or at least less significance than Crying Child. And at this point, Golden Freddy doesn't even really do much story-wise, okay? They're only significant because the fans fell in love with the character because they were so mysterious. The only way that Golden Freddy actually has an impact to the story is because we made them have an impact. But either way, alright, it would still be great to see Golden Freddy in some fashion, okay? Because it means that we might get something to help us figure out literally anything about this character. And I'm going crazy about it, so do it! And finally, in at number 1, staff bots. The Vanny bots, as I call them, or as they're listed on the wiki, the Nightmare on staff bots, bear a same model appearance to their newer counterpart staff bots, except this time they're rusty, they have glowing white eyes, a creepy smile, and, you know, they're possessed by Vanny or controlled by Vanny, something like that. They also have, like, tear streaks, kind of like Nightmare. Anyway, Nightmare on staff bots roles are largely unchanged from the regular staff bots. However, they only appear in the security variant because, you know, like the Nightmare on staff bots are only lethal in the sewers if you fall into the pits, but they also appear in hidden areas and during Vanny's sequence where she disassembles Freddy, and also in the canon ending to the security breach when you go into the place and you get the Afton ending and you go through FNAF 6's pizzeria. But even like not just those bots, but like the actual staff bots that cover the Mega Pizzaplex, I want to see them. It would be hilarious to include in some form on the app, okay? I mean, like, they'd be the ones serving us if we went to the Mega Pizzaplex, right? So it makes sense. I mean, like, this is 2023, so in FNAF terms, we're only about to see Springtrap come back and not actually the Pizzaplex, but it would still be funny to see, okay? Even if timeline-wise in the real world it's unrealistic. But that's the kind of thing that FNAF does, right? Unrealistic timelines? Yeah, I'm triggered.